Hey everyone, yesterday I put up an intro video talking about how I was going to do this roleplay character thing, and, well, today's the first day, so you don't really have to watch it if you don't want to. I'm pretty much just going to be rambling about different characters I've made for the next 15 days, so. Since it's day one, I'm going to start with the first character I ever remember creating role-playing-wise. Her original name was Nikia Kathryn Morris, and I created her when I was 13, so cut me a little slack on the name. It changes later, I promise. I don't really know how to explain her childhood. I mean, I know the events of what happened, but I don't know how it led up to that. Because she was in orphanages and foster homes from a very, very young age. She never liked them. She always wanted to get away. So when she was about 10 or 11, she just ran off. I think she was 10 when she ran off. And, you know, she was a Muggle born. You know, she didn't know that she had magic in her, so she wasn't expecting the Hogwarts letter. So she just ran. And while she ran, she came across a group of kids who had the same intent as her, you know, to get away, to get out of the system, and just have their own lives on their own and not have somebody breathe down their neck all the time. And, you know, everyone in that group was a teenager. There was one other girl who was near her age, and that was her friend Serena. And I think Serena was a year older than her. And she just kind of clicked with the whole group. You know, she did become the baby of the group since she was the youngest, but she fit in very, very well for an 11-year-old, a 10-year-old. And, you know, she got into some stuff like any other teenage runaway. But the group of kids, you know, they were their own, pretty much their own dysfunctional family. She kind of regrets it, but when she was about 10 and a half, one of the older kids managed to convince a tattoo artist in South London to, well, I don't even know which part of London, it was some part of London, to pretty much tattoo the same symbol on every one of them wherever they chose. And the symbol was a yin-yang symbol with a katana going through it. And she chose to get it on her right shoulder blade. She somehow managed to get it magically off now, so she doesn't have to worry about it, but she does regret getting it. She didn't get her Hogwarts letter on her 11th birthday. She got it on her 12th or 13th. And to be truthfully honest, nobody, not even any magical person, knows why she got it so late. She just happened to get it so late, and that's the way that it is. She didn't want to leave. She didn't. She was happy with the people that she was with. But her friend Serena pretty much forced her to go. She was like, if you don't go, I'm not going to talk to you for a very long time. And even though she knew she wasn't going to be able to see Serena for a very long time, she went because Serena was her best friend at the time and she didn't want to stop talking to her best friend. So, Nikki went off to Hogwarts. She was the first year that year. Even though she excelled quickly, there was always this bit of a devilish streak to her. It wasn't too bad, you know, it was just a simple prank that she played on somebody in her own house or in a rival house. But it was that kind of streak that pretty much made her who she was. You know, she was very brave, headstrong, stubborn. She acted before she thought. She was a Gryffindor, you know. You can't see it, but I have a little Gryffindor shirt on. And it's kind of my tribute to her, because she is my inner Gryffindor. She is, if you know her, or if she is somebody that you don't have anything against, like if you hate her or if she hates you, she will probably not help you unless you certainly need it, but she likes making other people happy. Of course, she likes playing pranks, and they make the people who aren't having the prank played on them smile, but she loves making people happy. She loves making people laugh. That was one of the qualities about her that everyone fell in love with at Hogwarts, especially her magical best friend, Shane Black Lupin. And I'm not even going to get into his past, even though I should. But, Nick is just, I can't really explain her. I can't explain her thought process, because, to be honest, I really don't know if she has one. When she was in her third year, because her third year was technically her fourth year at Hogwarts, because no, it wasn't her fourth year. Her third year was her fifth or sixth year at Hogwarts, because she excelled through the first 3 years within her first actual year at Hogwarts. That's really how smart she was. If it wasn't for her braveness and her nerve and her courage, she would have been a Ravenclaw most likely, with how smart she was. And she just has so many different qualities about her that people love and that some people hate. But she just became such a riot at Hogwarts. Everybody loved her. She got perfect grades, but she also knew how to have a good time. And a lot of teachers liked her, pretty much because of how smart she was and how she was able to hold an intellectual conversation. But all the students loved her because she would always play pranks on people. She would always try to make people smile. She always tried to make people feel better about themselves. And even now, that translates into her, even though she's like 24 years old and has a daughter and is married. There's nothing she likes more than making people smile. So when she graduated from Hogwarts, she and Shane, who became pretty much the love of her life, they got married right out of Hogwarts. Pretty much the month after they graduated, they got married. And they have the happiest magical family ever. They really, really do. So they were on their own for quite some time. About a year after being married, Serenity Rose, their daughter, came along. And they were just really, really happy, you know. They each had money behind them. Shane because of his family, Nikki because of hers, because after a while she eventually found out that her name wasn't Nikia Kathryn Morris. Her name was Nicolette Jeanine Renualt. She was of French descent. Her original parents were from America, and they had passed and left her their estate, their fortune. She was, what's the word? Whatever the term is where, like, you can become a teenager and get divorced from your parents. I forget the proper word for that. I don't remember the word. But it was that word. And, you know, she was pretty much on her own, like before. There was no other family that she knew that she could get in contact with to know. She had her own house in America. She had all this money behind her, and granted it was Muggle money, but it was still money, and it could still get her the things that she needed to raise the baby. So they managed to buy a smaller house in England. So they have the two houses, and currently they have enough money to pretty much support themselves. But when Shane turned 20, the headmistress at Hogwarts during their time there decided to retire and offered the job to Shane, because even though he was 20 years old, he was extremely smart. He was the other prankster in Nikki's group at Hogwarts, and he was the smartest guy at the school. If he really wanted to try to, he could have been the top of his class. That's how smart this boy was. So the headmistress knew she wasn't making a bad decision, and knowing that Nikki wouldn't want to just stay at home with the baby, even though she loved the baby and loved being a mother, Shane brought Serenity and Nikki with her to the school. So Nikki stayed, you know, where she was. She took care of the baby. When Shane was done with his headmaster duties, he came in, helped her, you know, the whole shebang. When Nikki turned 22, Shane was 23, Nikki was 22. She formally applied for the Defense Against the Dark Arts position since that was becoming free. You know, she didn't have to. Shane knew how smart this girl was. You know, he married her for Pete's sake. She formally applied anyway, and of course she got it, but she wanted to give other people the fair shot. So she is now currently the Defense Against the Dark Arts professor at Hogwarts. She still has her trickster aura, which Shane still has as well, because even though he's headmaster, he still likes playing pranks on his students. She plays the occasional prank with him, and they're never really huge ones. Like, they don't cause school humiliation. They're just small things that make the student laugh and make the school laugh. And Shane made it a rule that if you got a prank played on you, and someone tried to poke fun at you for it in a mean manner, like, oh, the headmaster kicked your ass or something, you know, they weren't going to stand for that. I don't know what the punishment was, but they didn't particularly enjoy it, and it was severely frowned upon. But Nikki, while having that streak, she deeply cares for her students, because she was in their position at one time. She knows that high school and being in the high school age, being a teenager, isn't exactly a walk in the park, you know? There are relationships you think are going to last forever that sometimes don't. There are things going on in families that shouldn't be going on in families, but are going on anyway. And she always tries to make sure that her students are happy, or that her students have a helping hand if they need it. So right now she is within her first year, her third year of being Defense Against the Dark Arts professor, with a five-year-old baby girl, married to the headmaster of Hogwarts, all living within a little top room in that top headmaster's tower. So, you know, they do take the occasional trip to America every now and then, because, you know, they have the estate. Why the hell not? But Nikki likes where she is, where she's married to the love of her life, has a beautiful baby girl, and she just has a very nice, happy family. Like I said before, I created her when I was 13, so her plot has changed a little bit. Her history has been modified. Her personality has always remained the same. Her play-by has changed a lot. The first image I had of her, she had pink hair with blue streaks, or blue hair with pink streaks, something like that. It was really crazy. And I couldn't find the right play-by for her, because who has blue and pink hair, you know? So her first play-by was Anne Hathaway, and that remained so for quite some time. And then eventually when I brought her back, I just, you know, I made myself her play-by. There was really no one else I could see as her at that point, because, you know, the beautiful people like Haley Steinfeld or other girls her age, they weren't famous at that point. They weren't in anything. You would have had no idea who they were. So it went from Anne Hathaway to myself to, now that she's older, Claire Danes, who played Juliet in Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio. So she's had quite an evolution through the years, but she's always been one of the most awesome characters I've ever made. And I've been ranting for nearly a quarter of an hour, and I haven't even noticed. And if you actually watch this, I will be amazed. But, you know, I'm doing this to do it. So, stay tuned tomorrow when I go on a tangent about the next person. See you guys tomorrow.